All right. I want to talk about an incident that happened in America in 1916 called the Black Tom bombing. Now, this isn't a very well known piece of history. It happened in Manhattan, they say. 2 million tons of war materials packed into train cars had blown up in the Blacktown Railroad yard on what is now Liberty State Park. Thousands of windows shattered in lower Manhattan and Jersey City. Shrapnel pockmarked the Statue of Liberty. 3 men and a baby were killed by the explosive energy that erupted from this act of sabotage. And what caused it were German agents that were trying to prevent American munitions shippers from supplying the English with any weaponry during World War I. At first, they didn't think it was espionage. They thought it was an accident. But they eventually figured out it was caused by these German agents. And this was before they had the FBI. They had the Bureau of Investigation. And it's interesting because at that time, Germany was proposing to Mexico to ally itself against America. And it was conducting unrestricted submarine warfare. And things began to change because of that, but since then we've had 9/11 and a couple other things as well. So this is 1916 that a bomb basically went off in New York, and it was caused by agents. And what is sad is that it took them a long time to figure it out and get some justice for it, although America entered the war. But the Germans didn't pay reparations for this act until 1979. So this is something that had occurred in America that you really don't hear much about. Now, is it possible that something like this occurred at other times? And I'm thinking the San Francisco earthquake, because it was a big fire as well, April 18th, 1906. And Library of Congress has some video of the 1906 earthquake and fire, which just completely devastated San Francisco. It could be an earthquake as well. So this is a little slow, but I just find this whole thing interesting as to the amount of devastation that it caused. There were ruins on every hand. Look at that. That's what an earthquake caused? That's just mind-blowing. So I want to show you one more thing. We had talked about California being a island in several of the old maps. But there were plenty of devastating earthquakes in the past that caused tsunamis. And it was in the 1800s there was one such horrible earthquake. Here's one in the 1700s. Oral histories from Native Americans. the Cascadia earthquake. It was a 8 or 9 shaker that occurred in the Cascadia subduction zone. The earthquake unleashed devastating waves that inundated the west coast and raced all the way across to Japan. That's from 1700. Could this have been when California was attached to the mainland? Because I haven't found too many maps after the 1700s that show it being an island. In 1812, there was another tsunami because of an earthquake in Santa Barbara, causing flooding and damage, and damaging several missions and Native American villages. And the tsunami was reported as far north as San Francisco. The waves also lifted up a 283-ton ship, which had been searching the coast for otter pelts, pushing up a half-mile inland and then carrying it back out to sea. So it appears to me that there were two major earthquakes, this 1700 one and this 1812 one, that caused major damage, tsunamis, and this could be when the land changed. But going back here to this video, looking at some of the damage, it just looks like a bomb went off. And the fires as well. So it's possible it was an earthquake. It's possible it could have been something like this. You know, I'll continue looking to see if there's any maps that show an island of California as an island. So until then, we have another piece of the hidden human story.